Well, I think finally we've been able to do this. First, I must say thanks to Austyn, who's been able to keep up with this program by his time in the United States. It's 5 a.m. and it's 5 minutes past 5 a.m. and it's 5 minutes past our own time here. So thank you for joining us and thanks for your time. And welcome to the discuss. I'm Sulaiman Leda. My guest today is the publisher of the Wheel newspapers, Austyn Ogannah. And Austyn, Happy New Year and good to see you.
Hi, Happy New Year, Sulai. Always a pleasure.
And I'll tell you something. While we were planning this, program, I never knew you and your team of editors were also doing something, similar. So it's amazing. I walked into Classic FM. By the way, thanks, because you always leave us copies of your newspapers. So I saw this and I said, wait a minute, I think I got the right man. Yes, for us to have this conversation. I started off the new year with Libora Soshoma, Christmas, the new year. We started talking about state of the states, which ultimately will also bring you in the course of the year. So I said, okay, now that people have started taking that trip to see the president, especially people of the APC, this is the time for us to start talking about these people that may, ultimately become a president. But anyway, let's start by asking you, the first man who paid that visit to the president, President Buhari, was Bola Tinubu, the former governor of Lagos State, who's also leader of the All Progressives Congress. Did that come to you as a surprise? We knew he was going to run. We knew he wanted, but that visit, I don't think a lot of people saw that visit coming too soon.
I didn't see the visit coming. To be quite honest, I didn't see that coming. And what actually even most of us didn't even see coming was he declaring on national TV, I'll put it like that, in the seat of power, that he would run, even if he said he was still consulting. These are very interesting times. You remember sometime last year when you and me on this show, we did discuss the presidency in terms of who would succeed Buhari, and we really wanted everyone to pay attention to 2023 because of the importance, of our next president to the both territorial and economic survival of the country. So I'm happy that that conversation has actually started in earnest. I'll say that we are actually ready to roar, and that's why you're seeing all the interest from Nigerians, and the fact that Ahmed Bola Tinubu himself went to meet with the president on this matter and all other issues concerning the APC tells us that the stakes are very high. The stakes are very high, and that even though we've had serious support and opposition to his candidacy, which of course is expected, we're happy that people are paying attention, Nigerians are paying attention, and that at the end of the day, we hope that we find that president that will take Nigeria to the next level, because that is what everybody wants.
Talking about finding the next president that will take Nigeria to the next level, quickly, I think it's instructive that we let our listeners know that they also can be a part of this program. You can send us a message via WhatsApp, 0909-217-2973. Twitter is there, but I want to restrict myself for now with the WhatsApp that I'm getting used to. But quickly here, the horse trading, which as your team has captured that. Let's start talking about it. If there was anything that has been in hushed tones of all names that have been, been bandied about as to the presidency in 2023, One name that has always been in hot tones is that of the Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo. But I would want us to start. We'll come back to the Tinubu, declaration and some other faces. Two names have always come up in hot tones, and one is the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, whether he's going to run or not, whether he's in conversation with anyone or anybody is another thing that I also want you to let us in on what you think. But Professor Yemi Osinbajo, let's start talking about this man. It's amazing that now, for some people, they still think that this is something that may be quite interesting if he, do you think he will run? And do you think he will openly do that, quickly? Because we have just a year to that big election.
Yes, if you ask me, I'll tell you that Professor Yemi Osinbajo will be a serious aspirant, and he will at some point join the race. Yes, I think he would run because his people, have reached out to a couple of people that I know both in the political and in the media cycle. So I believe he's seriously considering a run, irrespective of whether he's what I call it, estranged mentor, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu is going to run or not. He's seriously considering the push, and I think he will join the race, irrespective of whether Tinubu continues or not. And for former President Goodluck Jonathan, from what we gathered from our own research before we put the report out, we know for sure that former President Goodluck Jonathan is seriously considering running again, but on one condition: if the APC hands him the ticket on a plot of gold. Former President Goodluck Jonathan is not going to line up with anybody and face the possibility of humiliation and defeat. So to say he's seriously considering the offer, yes. We understand he was approached by one or two prominent governors and some leaders of the party at some point. But how that is going, no one is really sure, because from our report, it's really fluid right now and very unclear in terms of who really succeeds President Muhammadu Buhari. There's a lot of politicking, calculations, and schemings going on. So it's a really, really fluid process right now. But the good thing about it is that we know, at least from a pool of 10, 11, 12 aspirants, we know that one of them will eventually emerge as Buhari's successor in 2023. But who that person actually is right now, nobody can tell you.
Do you think President Buhari has done well to be so silent on it? Is that a fault or a game plan?
Could you say that again? I didn't get that.
Okay. The president, ultimately what we usually see, looking since 1999, is always having a sense of where the outgoing president would want to put his support on. But on this, the president has been somewhat silent, to the extent that Austyn, if you approach the presidency, if you have access to the president, you can as well pay him a visit and inform him that you too want to run.
You see, President Buhari is being very high ranking, being a former commander-in-chief of the armed forces, been very high ranking in the military, understands strategy. And I can tell you that the president will probably keep his preferred candidate very close to his chest until the very last minute. Probably, if you ask me, I'll probably say he'll mention it to some of his foot soldiers, then very close to the primary, he'll say, okay, this is my guy, everyone line up behind him. But he'll keep his card very close to his chest, which is what big players usually do. And I'll take you back to 2003, not 2003, 2007, just towards the end of former President Obasanjo's tenure. You know, this similar scenario, you know, is playing out again, because it plays out like this when you have an incumbent leaving office, you know, and then there's this almost level playing field at some point in the game. Then towards the end, it tilts to one particular person. And I'll take you to the top aspirants at that time, former Governor Peter Odili and Donald Duke, who had worked very, very hard on the aspirations, and, you know, were actually going to get the ticket of the PDP. Then last minute, it all just crumbled.
Yes, because I wanted you to add the because.
Yes, because that is when the chips really come down, and that is when, you know, those final decisions are taken and everybody just aligns. And I understand that at that time, based on all the memos that we've read and all the accounts that we've read concerning how late President Yaradua emerged, that former President Obasanjo that night called some of the governors and told them that this is where I'm going. And that was how Odili's presidential race ended. So I believe the same thing is going to happen now. There's so much interest, but it's still very fluid, because the APC is neither here nor there right now. And the PDP, you know, you understand what's actually going on in the PDP as well. The same fight and struggle for where the presidential candidate of the party will come from. So it is still very heated, but it's interesting as to watch as things unfold.
Well, we're here to talk about the PDP. We'll talk about party politics, but we're still looking at these individuals. And I'm happy you went down memory lane, even as far back as 2007. And that was why I said to my colleagues, Ifeanyi and Bukola, some days ago, I said, looking at the candidacy of Bola Tinubu, some of the key things you highlighted here now, Austyn, is well, 3 factors that may determine if he will make it. First, the God factor. I call it nature. Anything may happen, and he's off, And secondly, the man we just talked about, the president, he just might wait till the very end, and seeing that he still has this cult following, he just might say it, 11th hour, and it will change the course of things. But the other one is what I want you to look into. And now we have started talking about the Osinbajo factor, and it has to do with the politicking within the APC. So if anyone should throw spanner in the works, trust me, what are we likely to see, knowing full well that it looks as if, now that you have said that somehow, somewhere along the line, we might see Vice President Osinbajo coming out to say he wants to run. When that comes, when and if that does happen, how will it change, the equation or affect the chances of Bola Tinubu?
You see, it's still very fluid for the APC. Like we said in the report, that we think Vice President Osinbajo would run. When he eventually formally declares his interest in the race and he actually joins it formally, for him, it's a long shot. Because the fact is that elements around the president, and I believe people that are running the party right now do not believe that he's the man to trust to take over from the current
Let me take you
president.
back. I hope you don't lose your train of thought. You've used the word that Nigerians are not used to. Help us here. When you say elements around the president, is it the same as what we know as cabals?
Well, I don't want to call it cabal, because they're nothing like a cabal anymore. The cabal ended after the late chief of staff, Abba Kyari, was very influential, and he was said to have led the cabal. But I don't want to say cabal right now, because there's nothing like a cabal anymore. You just have pockets of interest, pursuing different agenda. But let me just go back to what I was saying before I lose my line of thought. So when Vice President Osinbajo formally joins the race, there'll be a lot of pushbacks in the party, because I know, like I said, that there are elements in the party that do not want him, and also do not want Asiwaju succeeding the current president. We all know that Vice President Osinbajo does not have the party structure in the APC. He would have to rely on a coalition of support from party leaders to emerge. So his candidacy is also very fluid, even if by virtue of the fact that he's in office and he's everywhere, he's working, but without that that he has the party structure to deliver himself. But we also found out something that was very interesting in the course of our report. We authoritatively gathered that Tinubu is very unhappy at the fact that Vice President Osinbajo is considering a presidential run, and we also understand that he's vowed that if he doesn't get it, Osinbajo would not get it. So you can actually see the crisis in the Southwest. I put it in the Southwest in the APC, because supporters and acolytes of Tinubu, Vice President Osinbajo, and Ekiti State Governor Fayemi are actually at all those throats. They are, there's a serious fight going on. It's as if they all want to cancel themselves, and the heat is coming from Tinubu's people, because Tinubu himself said on national television that becoming president of Nigeria has been a lifelong ambition, and Vice President Osinbajo and Fayemi are seen as spoilers. So there's a big fight in the Southwest APC right now that could actually cost the Southwest the ticket, and it's looking like the Southwest may not actually get the ticket, if you ask me, because who do you give it to when there's infighting amongst them?
So there is infighting, amongst the leadership of the APC, more so those in the Southwest, right?
Correct.
And again, if we go back to the statement, by Bola Tinubu, which we all saw and heard on national television, that it's always been a lifelong ambition, then one should also be, I think it would be well placed to see why he should be worried, knowing full well that, well, by the way, I don't know if you've also seen that you should, they started, bringing up pictures of Tinubu and some of his, commissioners during his first term in office, where you find Tinubu as a governor, Yemi Osinbajo as a commissioner, Rauf Arigbesola as a commissioner, Leke Kwito as a commissioner, Dele Alaki as a commissioner, and the Oniro of Yoruba Kingdom, the Oba, as his aide-de-camp. So perhaps he's trying to also say, look, they all knew from day one that this is what we were working towards. So I want us to go back to that coalition that you're talking about for the vice president. Should he, say he's truly going to run, do you think the coalition will also involve the People's Democratic Party, some faction of the People's Democratic Party supporting him in that, aspiration?
Yeah, thanks for bringing me to this. This is, from the research and all the work we've been doing in the last couple of weeks, what we've come to realize is that the 2023 general election at the presidential and at the state level will not necessarily be determined by party politics per se. Yes, Nigerians, things have evolved, and Nigerians are a bit wiser now. What we discovered was that people would vote for candidates irrespective of their parties. People will vote across party lines. People will vote individuals. So if you have, for instance, let's use my state, for instance, Delta, which is predominantly a PDP state. If PDP in Delta presents a candidate that is not popular, for instance, and the APC presents a candidate that is popular and popularity cuts across both parties, you see people in the PDP and people in the APC vote for this candidate. And the same will apply at the presidential level. So asking whether Vice President Osibajo will probably get, votes from members of the PDP if he makes his candidate, for instance, of course, that would absolutely happen. So it really depends on who the candidates are, really, and taking us back to how the candidates will emerge from the parties. Still staying on the APC, it's looking more like the APC would not ignore the Southeast. I have that intel that the APC would may not take the ticket to the core Southeast, like we've always said, but there are chances that that an Igbo from Rivers or Delta may emerge, and that's why if you talk to analysts and politicians, there are names that are being mentioned, names like CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele, names like Ifeanyi Okowa, names like Nyesom Wike, names like Rotimi Amechi. These are Igbos, but they're not from the core East.
So I'm trying to make sense of something again here. Now let's bring the name of the Ebonyi State governor into all of this. Just after Tinubu went to see President Buhari, he was also there. And I recall you and I and so many other guests, we've had that conversation talking about canvassing for a southern president. Southern could also mean the Southeast. So do you see the governor of Ebonyi State, also making some form of success, in his aspiration at the presidency, or maybe ultimately the vice presidency getting to him?
Governor Dave Umahi, from what we've heard and what we've seen, has been a fine governor to his people, and I think it's we all know that once you've led a state in this country, it prepares you, for for the presidency. But is Dave Umahi able to convince a coalition, convince the coalition to support him, to support his candidacy remains in doubt, for him, I think his only pathway to the presidency is if he's that candidate that the president has not disclosed yet, in terms of his preferred successor. That's the only pathway I see the Umahi emerging. Otherwise, I think it's a tough fight. It's a tough, because I don't think his his influence. I don't think his influence and support is actually very broad within the party. But he still has time to do the legwork. He took. I'm really disappointed that he took a lot of those that are aspiring today. It took them a long time to come out.
Yes.
I would believe that anyone that really wants to rule a country like Nigeria should come out early.
Because it's almost too late. It's just a year to election.
Yes, come out signify 2-3 years before, so that you can begin to work and build a coalition and convince people. But the people if Aspirants like Dave Umahi, declares his intention 5-6 months to a presidential primary, I don't think that's going to fly. He has his work cut out for him, because his name doesn't necessarily ring a bell. So name recognition is the problem as well for him. So, but like I said, except he's that person that the president has in mind, his shot is quite very long. He has a very long shot.
When you analyze the 2007 politics, talking about the Donald Duke factor, one word I almost threw at you was that the young governor, loved by many, chickened out at that point in time. So now let's start looking at politics now and see how audacious, how they say it on the street, bold face, you don't give two hoots. If anyone tells you to, bury ambition, you say you want to go the whole hog. Now, there are other names. I'm looking at the front page. We already talked about VP Oshibado, talked about Tinubu, talked about former President Goodluck Jonathan, Emefiele as well. There's a man who's still there, irrespective of age, the former Vice President, Atiku Abubakar.
Atiku Abubakar is an old war horse, a very old war horse. He's been around forever. He's been running for president for a very long time. In the PDP, I believe his coalition is still there, but I think this may actually not be his time because of the opposition to his candidacy or aspiration amongst very influential governors in the party. And I'm sure the number one person is the Rivers State Governor, Nyesom Wike, who is completely and totally opposed. He's been opposed to Atiku's candidacy before the last election. During the election cycle, he actually tried to block him, but it didn't work out until the likes, well, they call them the owners of Nigeria, until the likes of the former leaders built a coalition around Atiku and made sure he emerged. But in this cycle, it's a bit different because if you follow developments in the party, Atiku has lost twice already, and he wanted, he didn't want secondos out of the party. not out of the party, out as party at the party's national chairman, but he lost that fight to Wike. He lost that fight to Wike. So his influence within the governors, who of course run the party, has waned a great deal. But but in politics, you just never know. But if you ask me, I would say he's the front runner. He's the front runner for the ticket in the PDP. But will he get it? I don't know. If you ask me, I'll say he'll probably not get it. Because there's this push right now, if you're following developments in the PDP, to zone the presidential ticket to the south, and that push has been, according to our findings and our report, has been led by Wike, and he's very influential in the party. He's been able to build a good coalition around whatever he wants to do. So he's able to pull this one
it doesn't look
off
like
at this time.
Yeah, quickly. Sorry, I had to butt in. Yeah, I'm trying to see how much we can take now. It doesn't look like Wike. Wike is not contesting.
No, of course, Wike is contesting. Wike is, according to our findings, Wike will contest if he's able to get the ticket zoned to the south. We also know that the Akwa Ibom State governor is keeping an eye on things as well, according to our reporting. We also know that the Delta State governor, Emmanuel Udom, is the Akwa Ibom State governor, and also the Delta State governor, Ifeanyi Okowa, is keeping an eye on developments as well. These guys are politicians. They play politics. So if Wike and Coast, succeed in zoning the PDP's presidential ticket to the south, according to our reporting, then you have Wike is going to run. We believe Okowa is going to run. We believe Emmanuel Udom is going to run. Give it a shot. So, but things are still very fluid right now. But these are just the things we're hearing, and Nigerians should really take them seriously.
So before we start taking the messages that we have already waiting for us, let's talk about the former Senate President, Pius Ayim.
Pius Ayim is, I like how he's, he's headstrong. He's coming and he's pushing. In politics, you don't discountenance or discount any aspiration. But is Ayim able to pull it off in the PDP is a very, very tough one. It's a very tough one for obvious reasons. I don't know if he has, there's something that's really important in elections, money. Money is very important because you need money to prosecute a presidential election in Nigeria. Electioneering in Nigeria is very expensive to seriously give the presidential your presidential pursuit, a very serious push. You probably need about $300 million.
$300 million.
Yes. Because I know for sure. So just imagine your agent, at the presidential at the polling units, are paid 10,000 naira, right? So, and we have 774 local governments already. So by the time you do the maths, you see that you're running into billions and billions of naira. So for the former Senate President, Pius Ayim, I don't know if he has that money, and I don't know if he's able to build a coalition in the PDP, and I don't know if he's even able to convince the PDP to zone its ticket to the Southeast, which for some reason, has been a hard sell in the two parties. Apparently because the Igbos are not very good politicians when it comes to playing politics at the national level. I don't know why.
I want you to speak more of that, because it was only recently I met someone and he said, and that's just about the third time someone will say this to me, and he said, wait a minute, if you realize what happened during the last election on the ticket of Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi, it got to a point, Peter Obi told the world, told Nigerians that his account is being investigated. He couldn't access his money. And these politicians said, wait a minute, you think he didn't know that he wasn't going to win? He wasn't ready to spend his money. So he allowed Atiku Abubakar to keep spending the money. So now when you said something about $300 million, so what kind of faith do these people have to know that if you put this in an election, you're not likely to lose?
You see, it's what they do. It's a risk. It's an investment. It's just what it is. Elections in Nigeria are very expensive to prosecute. If you're an aspirant, you need to have, to give your aspiration the bite. You need to put good money behind it, and it's expensive. You have to do, you have to raise a structure, you have to finance the structure, you have to do media, you have to knock on doors, you need foot soldiers. So it's a lot of money, and that's why there's a lot of corruption in the system. And that's why people canvass against the presidential, the kind of presidential system that we practice, because it's very expensive. So for a candidate, for instance, to seriously prosecute the governorship or presidential election, the ticket runs into hundreds and billions of naira. Now going back to the other aspirants, there are actually other aspirants that we looked at that probably stand a good chance. There's Bala Mohammed, the current governor of Bauchi State, who Nyesom Wike, is has openly spoken about, wants to join the race, and Bala Mohammed himself has shown that he's a serious aspirant. We don't know if he'll get it. But he's definitely going to give it a shot. Sokoto State Governor as well, Tambuwal, who ran in the last cycle but lost to Atiku Abubakar. And then if you come to the south as well, I don't know how these two political parties are going to handle the whole process, but it's going to be interesting. But at this time, it's still very fluid. The aspirants and their interests are all consulting and still pushing. But let's just see how it goes. I mean, it's still this is like the beginning of the beginning. So it's hotting up now. Mm-hmm. The deals are being done. I read earlier today the interview by former military president Ibrahim Babangida, which was published on the Daily Trust. where he reiterated that that the next president should actually be someone that is not old.
Yeah.
And yes, whether you like it or not, well, Babangida may not call a lot of shots today because he's been out of the system for a very long time, but he's still very influential amongst those.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. Quickly, let me bring in our listeners who are listening to us from across the globe. This one here is from Ade Boyega Adedeji. Well, it's a two-part message because we didn't take messages early enough. I wanted you to actually look at so many. Well, he said, well, Happy New Year to you, Austyn, and of course to myself. Thank you very much. And he said, Liberal Soshoma mentioned earlier on the show when he said that the government should have tapped into the entertainment industry because he now goes on to ask, is it the same government that has banned Twitter that you're expecting to tap into things like this? A government that its agencies see young people with laptop as threats and weapons of mass destruction. And went on to say, in addition to what Austyn Ogannah has said, Nigeria will have to choose between a demon and the devil in 2023 presidential election. Honestly, I don't know how a decent and visionary leader can emerge as a president in Nigeria. He goes on to say, and I also don't know where the enormous sympathy votes and calls are coming from for the vice president, Professor Shibajo. What is so special about him that would make Nigerians think that he's the best for the #1 seat in 2023? For God's sake, Professor Shibajo and Tinubu are stakeholders and beneficiaries of this government. What are these two coming to do differently from what PMB has already done? I beg, let's look elsewhere for our president, not APC as a party. That's from Adegboyega Adedeji. I want you to react to some of these. I'll take some more now. And this other one here says, hi, Joe, I'm a fan of Asiwaju, but I prefer VP or Shibajo to take 2023. The VP has played a very commendable role as deputy. I think he's one of the very busy vice presidents we've had in Nigeria since 1999. He's loyal, he's experienced, he's gentle, he's coordinated, calculated, and qualified to take the mantle. Every muds and roadblocks thrown at him to rubbish his personality was rubbished. I don't know. He mixed it up because I'm seeing the name of Tinubu there, so I don't know what you meant by that long line, so I don't rephrase it for yourself, so I'll drop that. And he goes on, I think Tinubu has penchants for fishing for good hands. His products are everywhere for all to see. But in all, the VP stands for me. PDP is a party to beat, but their candidates will have to work a lot more harder because things have fallen apart for them. Common party secretariat, they couldn't complete even after raising over 15 billion naira. This is from Bugizi, listening to us in Delta State. Bugizi, no, I'm mixing that. Bugizi didn't put where he's listening from. It's Kewalansky, who is from Delta State. Kewalansky said, I want to ask Austyn, is zoning also an internal arrangement of the APC? And has the presidential ticket been officially zoned to PDP? Sulaiman, why is there a candidate? Or maybe you want to put, why is there not the candidate? But anyway, it didn't go well. I'm sure when you look at it, you see that there's something missing. So I'll jump that line. I don't want to, when it's politics, Austyn, I don't want to fix any mistake when it comes to text messages. I know this game, so I don't want anyone telling me I did this. So something is missing. Go back to your message and see what is missing. If you can get it back to us before we wrap up the show, that'll be fine. And he went on to say, should the electorate be looking at personality or character? I think we should look at the likely direction a candidate will take us to rather than where he's from and how big his personality is. You know, Kewalansky from Delta is asking some of these questions to you, Austyn. So I want you to remember he's talking about zoning. Then lastly, let's take the two more. The messages are so much. I think everyone loves politics. This is from Madam Adeleye, and she says, well, good day, Classic team, Classic FM team. I want to correct something. It's not a risk on any candidate when they spend and lose money, because in the first instance, it's not their money. No pain, no gain. Madam Adeleye, thank you very much. I choked on that. So I'll let Austyn go ahead while I clear my throat.
Yeah, okay. Very interesting questions. First, the APC has not zoned. Zoning is strained to the APC constitution. The APC does not have a zoning arrangement. Even if talks are ongoing for that to happen, the APC has not formally adopted zoning. That's only for the PDP, which I believe the Bala Mohammed committee that was set up after they lost the last election has said that the PDP should not zone the presidential ticket to any zone. They should leave it open. So to answer that question, the APC has not zoned, and I don't know if it will happen, but I believe that the governors meet. The governors are meeting this week. The governors are meeting this week, and I believe they're supposed to also meet with the president. Hopefully, that will give us some insight into where the party would formally zone its ticket to. But I understand that from our reporting that the APC is actually looking to the south. It is clear that the presidential candidate is going to come from the south for the APC. That is the done deal. For the PDP, it's still a bit shaky. And could you someone else asked the question about could you remind me again, please?
What's that? I think no, we're done with zoning, and I think. Do you want to react to Madam Adeleye saying that? Well, she's correcting us that whatever is being lost or gained is the people's money, and Kowalski is the one from Delta, and yes, Ashwaju asking. I mean, talking about Yemi Osinbajo, he's talking about what's his name again? Bugisi. Bugisi is saying, well, he doesn't see anything that the man has that is coming up to run. That both he and Tinubu are both products of the same government. So we need someone.
That's true. Thanks for that reminder. You see, it depends on who you actually talk to. Vice President Osinbajo and Bola Tinubu are actually from the same political family. Tinubu, it was on Tinubu's back that the vice president built his political track record. So there's really no difference between. I think the ideologies are the same. They're from the same school, from the same camp. But with what we're hearing, and which is really, really very serious, things appear to have fallen apart between the both of them, even if they're just trying to be civil. From our reporting, it appears that Tinubu will end up canceling Osinbajo. Osinbajo will end up canceling Tinubu because of the infighting, and that will clear a path for maybe a sort of compromise candidate, if the APC zones or fully decides that the presidential candidate must come from the southwest, which is where a compromise candidate may emerge. But from what we're hearing, it appears that the south is is polling stronger than the Southwest with regards to the APC ticket. So we'll see. And the other question about the money's being the money spent in an election not being the aspirant or the candidates is entirely not completely true, because irrespective of the fact that aspirants get donations and monies from people that want to support their aspiration or their bid, they also invest their own money. We've heard stories about people selling off shares and selling off real estate to go for elections.
And I mean, the last election was an example. I think Atiku Abubakar did something with part of what Intel's had.
Intel, yeah, and he sold his stake, yeah.
He sold his stake at Intel's.
Yeah,
let me drop this quickly because I want us to, we're almost out of time. Sorry again to butt in there. This is from Pastor Dakwa. I needed to drop in this. And he says, good day, Austyn and Sulai and Classic FM. Your subject of deliberation today is very apt, sensitive and educative. As a Nigerian, would like to implore everybody not to dilute the current state of affairs in the country with sentiments. 2023 is a make or break year, and we don't want to make the same old mistakes once again. Tinubu has at one time or the other gone on a fantasy trip of possessing the #1 mandate, just like countless other people, including the late MKO. People like Yemi Osinbajo shouldn't take the back seat because of Asiwaju's aspiration, because Nigeria is much bigger than one man's aspiration, which might not result in any kind of positive improvement. Thanks. That's from Pastor Dakwa.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Everything is said resonates with the time. So, with the times that we're in right now. I believe that, anyone that's qualified should give the presidency a shot. We have some young people that just, even if it's a very long shot, I don't think they stand a chance. Yeah. But at least they've come out and they've done the right thing. Chukwuma Monyi and
that's a pretty young, folks. Yes.
It raises the conversation. It tells us, that people are paying attention. Whether they are definitely not going to go far, it is, because they don't have the money, they don't have the structure. But, we want more people with capacity to come out, to spice up, the debate, to spice up the race. And
I'm happy you used the word debate. Maybe sometime soon I should also bring you so that we can talk about debates. But quickly here, the last one before you go. And Kawalansky has been able to send in the other part of the message that wasn't clear. Apologies to others that we couldn't take the messages. We'll keep some of them and we'll stay on this course. And Kawalansky says his second question is to Austyn. Why is where the geographical zone an aspirant is from more important to us than the ideals and philosophy he stands for? Are we not focusing on the wrong things? If we can just close on that.
No, we're not. You see, for a complex country like Nigeria, we need to foster unity. Yeah, I believe we all know that there are smart people spread around the country, but you just don't want, especially at this time of our democracy, it's still very young. We're still trying to build it. You don't want any part of the country feeling shortchanged, especially what's happening in the Southeast today. We want a united Nigeria. I want a Nigeria where there's peace and security, because without peace and security, you don't have development. So there's so much agitation. We all know what the Southeasterners have been through, what the Igbo man has been through in Nigeria all these years from the Civil War and what have you. And, there's this perceived marginalization, even if I hate to use that word, but I believe that the Igbos have not really gotten a fair share from the Nigerian project. And, not just, I mean, it's not our fault alone, but it's just, I mean, a couple of other factors, coupled with the fact that, you know, the Igbos have not played the national politics very well. And when they've had the chance to do the right thing, they haven't done so, you know. But as people that promote one Nigeria, a united Nigeria, I believe that, you know, we should have options where we lift up, you know, we lift up someone or a group of people that feel that they're being left out of the Nigerian project, because you have smart people everywhere. You know, why can't the president come from the East? The Igbos have done very well in business. The Igbos are very entrepreneurial. The Igbos are everywhere in Nigeria. Probably the only tribe that if you go anywhere in Nigeria, you see them. You go to Sokoto, there's an Igbo man. You go to Kano, you go to Borno, you go to Rivers, you go to Lagos, you go to Ekiti. Everywhere you go in Nigeria, in fact, everywhere you go in the world, you find an Igbo man. It's who they are. You know, but they've just not been able to
as you rightly said, to close this, as you rightly said, they must also use such to leveraging on politicking. As some would say, politics is not served a la carte. You must make the connection, make the negotiation, lobby, and
absolutely.
See. Absolutely. Austyn, I think it's a fine time for us to say thank you for being such nice company. And again, I'm looking forward to when you'll be back again in Nigeria, so that we'll stop, you know, waking you up and you know, leaving the family and going to one quiet corner of your house to have this conversation. But that's what we do for country. Thank you very much for being such nice.
Thank you very much for having me on your show. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
All right. Austyn Ogannah, the publisher of the Wheel newspapers. I'm Sulaiman Ali. You can catch up on this particular discourse on the Classic FM YouTube channel. I'm out. Bye-bye.